Hi there. Welcome. My name is Monique Nicole. I am a business coach for interior designers, and I want to talk to you about four things that may be keeping you from being what we call booked and busy, right? So, first thing is that I want you to know you are not booked and busy because you're not talented or because you don't have the skill sets to do a great job in what you do. Typically, it's because of four things, okay? But it's definitely not because you're not talented. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what those four things could be and how to fix them, okay? So the first thing is that um, if your phone isn't ringing, it's probably because your offer is not clear, right? So what do I mean by my offer? This is one of the things that I teach my coaching clients in my employee to designer program, where I talk to them and I teach them how to create an offer that is compelling and that really makes someone want to be interested in at least learning more about your interior design services. And a lot of times, what designers do is, and you may be in this situation, especially when you are starting out and you're building your business, a lot of times you offer too many services, right? So you have all these ideas of how you want to share your services and help people create beautiful spaces in homes. And a lot of times you end up creating and offering way too many services at one time. So it's very important to have one clear service and offer that core service so that you can truly market it and share with them what the result's going to be and make sure that you are targeting one ideal client. Okay. A lot of times you have too many services, or maybe you have vague descriptions. So you might have one really or two, good core offerings, but maybe your descriptions are too vague. So it's not enough information for them to make an informed decision on if you're the right designer for them and if they should, book a call with you. Okay. And what happens is there's a saying that confused people do absolutely nothing. So they may come to your site, you may get them, you might start a conversation with them on social media and you might get them to your website, but they don't convert or they don't book that discovery call because they're confused. They're not quite sure how you can help them. And so confused people, just remember, do nothing. So you want to make your offers very, very clear and make sure that they're not vague. Okay. And you want to minimize the number of offers that you provide. Okay. All right. So an example of that could be something like I help busy professionals design a living room that they love in 2 weeks. Right. That's a very specific service that you're talking about that you offer. And it tells them exactly what the result's going to be. Right. So just an example of how you can think about that. All right. The next thing is that I want you to stop copying other designers' pricing, right? I know it can be a little like confusing, and especially when you're starting out and you're trying to figure out, how do I price my services? How do I build this business, right? But when you copy other people's services, or if you research another designer's services and you're like, oh, I want to offer similar something to that, and you price it the same way, what you're missing out on is several factors, right? Because there's several factors that dictate how you should price things. Okay. So first, you want to think about what is the scope of the service. So what are you going to be offering? You also have to factor in your experience. So another designer's experience may not be the same as yours, right? They may be just starting out. And so their pricing may be a lot lower than what you should price your services at, because maybe you have more experience, right? Also, if you are comparing pricing to other designers, you have to look at the location and what the demand is, and what I like to call, what is the disposable income that that area can withhold, right? So, meaning if you live in New York City, right? I remember I had a coaching client, and she was in Kingston, New York, and we were trying to figure out her pricing. And she was like, I don't want to price so, expensive because I kind of feel like, I'm an imposter and like maybe I don't deserve to, earn that amount of money for that service. And it was all in her head, right? It was definitely a mental thing. And what I said to her was, I want you to do some data, do some research and find out the data of what's the average household income in your area, right? And where she lived, it was a very affluent area. And so, what that told me, based on the research that we did, was that the people that she's targeting, they have the disposable income, right, to pay that higher tier pricing, and that she was just sabotaging herself, right? And so, one of the things you got to look at is your area, where you're located. What is the demand for your type of service, and what is the what is the expected type of income, not income, but how much is someone willing to pay for your particular service. Okay, so that's something you got to look at. All right. And then also you have to look at your time. How long does it take you to do something, right? I have a formula that I teach my coaching clients, and it's really looking at how much time does it take you to complete a task, and then you multiply that by your hourly rate. That should be your baseline, meaning your starting amount of how much you're going to charge. Because at the end of the day, time is money, right? And so if you are charging for a service, let's just say to create a floor plan, you got to make sure that you are charging for your time. Okay. And then you want to add a markup on top of that because things happen, right? And then also you have to make a living doing this. So that's a starting point of how much time it's going to cost you, the service scope. So what is the project, or what are you working on? And then also you want to think about what's your desired income, right? I always kind of teach my coaching clients to work backwards. So if you say you want to make $140,000 a year, your first year starting out, well, you got to figure out, okay, how many services do you have? How many clients do you need in order to meet that goal? And what is the price point that's going to help you meet that goal, right? Based on the number of clients that you can actually service at one given time, right? So you can kind of like reverse engineer your pricing based on what your financial goals are. All right. So those are things you want to think about, but you want to don't copy someone else, right? Because you don't know what you're copying, right? Someone else's situation can be completely different than yours. So you want to make sure that you are building your pricing based on you as a designer or interior decorator and what you have to offer. Okay. So your pricing shouldn't support your life. Should support your life. It should not stress you out. It should not be something that makes you feel less than, right? It should be aligned with your experience, with your demographics, and the time that you are putting into your project. All right. Okay. Next thing is you don't need more followers. You need a better client journey. So what do I mean by this? Right? So I know that it's stressful. I know that it's confusing in this world that we live in where everything is on social media, and it feels like social media is the only way to kind of get your business out there and get your message out there. And while that may be somewhat true, I truly believe that it's not so much about volume. And there is, eyeballs. You do need eyeballs on your business, meaning you need to have people who know about your business, right? But you don't necessarily need to have 20,000 followers tomorrow to have a successful business. I can tell you, I built my business over a 10-year span, and I haven't ever had 20,000 followers, right? Honestly, because I haven't put the effort into building followers, right? I really put the effort into creating great customer experiences for my clients, and that's what sold itself, right? So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having a lot of followers, but I want you to know that you don't need, right, hundreds and thousands of followers in order to have a profitable interior design business. What you need is a better client journey. So what I mean by that is, say you have 500 followers, right? And, you know, 50 of those followers follow you and they have connected with you online. Maybe they join your email list and you are marketing to them, you're nurturing them, right? What happens when those 50 people enter your ecosystem, whether it be your, let's just say it's your email marketing campaign? Do you have a system in place where once they sign up for your newsletter or they book a call, that there's a process that happens behind the scenes that nurtures them and you stay connected with them? That is usually the biggest problem that I see in designers' businesses, is that they have no client journey. They have no CRM that they're using to nurture their leads and take them down their sales funnel or their sales journey or client journey. Okay, there's lots of different names for it. And so what happens is you spend all this upfront time, posting on social media, trying to get that lead. And then once they come into your ecosystem, you don't talk to them anymore, right? Or you don't follow up. You don't have a follow-up system. And so that is very important. It is, I would say, probably the number one thing that big businesses do well, is because, think about it, they're doing mass advertising. They're probably spending, when I worked in corporate advertising, I used to work with clients who would spend millions of dollars per quarter on advertising, right? But you better believe when they spend that money, they have a system in place behind the scenes that when someone answers an ad or clicks on an ad, if someone calls an 800 number, or when someone walks into their store and purchases something, they have a marketing system, a CRM, that will nurture those clients and those customers and get them to buy, or just at least at the very minimum, stay in contact with them for when they are ready to become a customer, right? And so if you have not built a CRM system, that's something that you want to look at. You want to look at, how do you create a process or a client journey that really takes them through your unique journey and connects with them, okay? So no client journey will really kind of keep your business at a standstill. And I would say that's probably usually the most underutilized strategy that designers don't have in place, is having some type of client journey. Okay. All right. Okay. So the next thing I want to kind of talk about really quickly is, if I had 0 clients right now. Let's just say I'm retired right now from interior decorating, but let's just say I was running my business and I had 0 clients right now. Okay. What would I do, or what would I fix first? Well, I would say probably the first thing that I would fix would be my offer. Okay. And the reason why is because marketing is like a funnel, right? It's kind of like this. Actually starts like this. You've probably seen it, it looks like a tornado thing, right? And it starts at the top. And what's always at the top is your offer, right? You have to get people excited about what you have to offer, right? If you don't get anyone excited, no one's going to join your email list or connect with you, right? And then they can't go through your client journey and you don't get any customers. And so typically it's your messaging. And when I say your offering, it's really looking at your messaging. So first of all, your service. What is your service? What is your core offering or your core service? How are you describing and talking about your core service? And most importantly, are you speaking to your ideal client? Because your messaging could be great. It could sound great. You could have a great interior design service, but you might be talking to the wrong person. It's kind of like, think about like if you were walking down the street and you were trying to get your friend's attention and their back was turned to you, or someone's attention and their back is turned to you, and you're calling out a name, but it's not their name, right? And so they just keep walking. They never turn around, right? That could be what's happening in your business, where, yeah, you're talking, you're out there, you're posting, you're saying a whole lot of great things. you're sharing your business, you're sharing your, your installs and your beautiful pictures, but it's falling on deaf ears because you're not speaking to your ideal client, right? So the first thing that I would fix and I would recommend that you look at, if you right now have 0 clients and you feel like, why am I not being booked and busy? Why am I not getting, clients? Why is my business not growing? Even though you may feel like you're doing all the things, is I would look at the top of your funnel, which starts with your offer. What service are you offering? Are you solving a problem, right? Are you providing a solution to your ideal client's problem? And are you talking about it in a way that resonates with them, right? One of the things I remember that kind of when I started my interior decorating business that I feel like kind of set me apart was I was really good at differentiating myself and talking about the transformation that they would receive if they worked with me versus another designer, right? My specialty was international design, so cultural based design. And so I talked a lot about, someone's home experience and being able to transform their home so that it feels like them. It feels like, this is a home that represents who they are. And so I did a lot of that through storytelling and, just marketing and sharing my kind of, my specialty and what I did. And that is a way to resonate and connect with people because people want to know that you're the right person for them, that you're the right designer, because there's a lot of other designers out there, right? They have a right to choose, right? We all have consumer rights to choose who we want to work with and spend our money with. And so it's our job and your job to not convince them, but present the benefits of working with you and make sure that it resonates with what it is they're trying to accomplish. Okay. So those are just some of the things that I think that are really important for you to focus on. If you are in a place where you're just starting your interior design business and you're like, hey, I can't get any clients, I don't know what's going on, and you're looking around and everybody else is, seems like they're thriving and growing, but you're not. Okay. Or maybe you've been in business for, some time and maybe, you're rebranding or you just are at a standstill and your business is not moving in the direction that you want it to. I want you to take a look at some of the things that I just shared. And I think that those will really help you. Okay. So I hope this helps. And if you feel like you are stuck or you're like, I'm not sure what's holding me back from either starting your interior design business or growing it, I have a free quiz that I've created and it's called What's Holding Me Back from Starting or Growing My Interior Design Business. And I want to invite you to take it. It takes like 2 minutes. It's a lot of fun and it'll give you a result that shows you and talks about where you are, what may be holding you back, and then also how to fix it, how to overcome the area that you're in and move forward and start thriving in your interior design business. So hopefully this helps. And leave a comment here below, comment quiz on this post, and then I'll send you all the details directly. Or you can click the link in my bio and you can see, you can find the quiz there. Okay. All right. Hope this helps and talk to you soon.